Right, so we're here in the studio with what you've known up until now as the McLaren P15. It's basically the next in the Ultimate Series, the McLaren Ultimate Series, 5 years after we saw the hybrid P1. And now it has a name. This is called the McLaren Senna. That's going to make a bit more sense when I explain what this car is all about. Obviously, Senna is the ultimate racing driver. This car is designed to be the ultimate track car. It's about going around racetracks very, very quickly indeed. Just a bit of housekeeping first, actually. This isn't a direct successor to the McLaren P1. The Ultimate Series is kind of forking off into two different directions. So this is the track toy. This is the ultimate thing for going around in circles very quickly. And then later next year, we're going to have the BP23. That's what they're calling the Hyper GT. It's a hybrid. It's more about straight line speed than track times. This thing, I'll just mention off the bat, isn't actually a hybrid. So back here, we've got the 4-litre twin-turbo V8 from the 720S that turned right up to 800 horsepower. They haven't told us performance figures at this time, but fair to say it will be pretty damn quick. The styling, yes, we should talk about that because this thing is utterly brutal. Now, I wouldn't say it's beautiful. I'll say that straight away, but that's because every single surface on this car is about aerodynamics. It's about shaving weight. This thing weighs just under 1,200 kilos dry, by the way, and about going fast, being efficient, and producing maximum downforce. So we start at the front. We'll do a little guided tour, if you like. Lots and lots of carbon fibre. Of course, the whole thing built from the stuff. You'll notice these little blue elements down here. Now, these are active aerodynamic flaps, so they can pop up and pop down, giving you more downforce, less drag, depending on whether you're braking or you're going down the straights. Come down the sides. You're going to have to follow me around for this one. The wheels. Now, these are interesting because it's McLaren's first ever centre locking wheel. Normally you have 5 bolts there, which means you have to have 10 spokes or an even number of spokes. They've actually got 9 spokes, which is a slightly lighter construction, we're told. And behind that are a new breed of carbon ceramic brakes. These things take 7 months each to make these discs. They operate at a lower temperature, which means they work from cold, they don't fade as much, and they're lighter. Pirelli P0s, Trofeos are a no-cost option. Coming down the side, we follow the journey of the air as it comes down here, feeds into these huge radiator intakes here. And this is a bit of a fancy feature hand. Now, make your own mind up whether this is actually any use or not, but there is a glass panel in the door. Now, what that means is you can basically see the road rushing by at enormous speed. If you're going sideways, perhaps you can spot the apex that you're about to clip. Bit of a gimmick, but, you know, this thing is about emotion. It's about getting people excited, and it's done the job for me. Roof, scoop, feeding air into the engine. Of course, this here, little carbon fibre gurney flap. What that does is sends the air up into the air. It disrupts it, creating low pressure here that sucks the hot air out the back of the radiators. Every little detail has been thought about. And just check this out. Look at the clearance on that. If I stick my finger under there, probably 2 inches above the wheel. Now, this is in race mode. This is absolutely slammed. 50mm drop when you put it into race mode. I wouldn't advise you use this on your local high road, and to be honest, only on certain very smooth racetracks is that going to make sense. Around the back we find much more aero. Very long rear deck here, all the way down here like an old LMP1 prototype. The idea is to keep the air attached as long as you can right down here, and it creates less drag. This is a thing of beauty here, a carbon fibre double-decker diffuser, all one piece. You could take that thing off, mount it on your wall. It's so beautiful. And let's not forget the exhaust here. Now, the wing, yes, it's quite large, isn't it? Active, of course, so it'll pop up when you brake, when you need more downforce. It'll lie down when you need to be more slippery down the straights. But the way they've mounted it is really, really clever because these arms here come over and the top, so the wing is actually hanging rather than mounted from underneath. What that does is keeps the entire underside of this wing clean, which makes the whole thing more efficient. Amazing, isn't it? We're talking about points of a percentage of efficiency here, but that's what this car is about. If you're going to be the fastest McLaren ever, and yes, this is quicker down the track than a McLaren P1, that's the kind of detail you need to go into. Should we have a look inside? Where's the handle? No. Fuel cap. We can cut that bit later. Right. Right. Here I am, firmly installed in the new McLaren Senna. Yeah, skeletal carbon fibre bucket seats, just little bits of leather padding. Actually not that uncomfortable. You sit super low, of course, but because you've got that glass panel in the door, the visibility seems somehow better than a 720S. Cool thing here, look, when you adjust your seat, this panel, so that's when you've got your gear selectors, your launch control, your hazard lights, probably one followed by the other, all move with you. The infotainment screen directed towards you, it's all about the driver. And this is a bit I love. It's like your aircraft control panel up here. So race mode is hidden up here. Clearly they don't want people hitting it by accident. That's how you start the car. This is how you pop the doors open. And we've got the same fancy folding infotainment digital cluster there that you get on the 720S. Very pared back, very simple. Oh, behind you, you have an option because there's a glass screen on this one, which means you can see the top of the engine. That's an option, and I implore you to go for it because you can just have a carbon fibre blanked out panel, but hey, you want to see the engine behind you. And this little deck here, that's all the luggage space you get. They say you can fit 2 helmets and a couple of race suits, and if you're lucky, a Ginster's sandwich. Right, now for the bad news, because they're only making 500 of these cars. It's a snip at 750 grand, but all of them are sold out. So if you're interested, well, you're going to have to wait for the BP23, of which they're making even fewer, and it's probably sold out anyway. So anyway, you're just going to have to enjoy this thing from afar, drink in the details, enjoy the fact that McLaren, well, it's on a bit of a roll, isn't it?